guys also see on the left-hand side that,
okay, I'm moving it.
That dark spot
Watch
on
out.
his left
Beep beep.
Drunk driver.
Right here. I'm recording
Right
this.
here. Oh shit.
On the spotlight.
See right there?
No, you fail. Get close.
Oh, we can't see. You can't see, Bill. See that? Here, listen. Give me just now.
Everybody turn off theirs.
Why you gotta give him the... Oh, yeah.
Okay, see that thing there?
No.
That actually is the result of a visitation, a individual historically in certain Buddhist traditions, not super Zen, but it's a Buddhist tradition where people leave gifts for the Buddha when they're making a request. Now, as a rule, properly speaking, like a Zen master would tell you that the Buddha that you worship isn't that guy. That's a symbol simply of the Buddha within. And so in certain, like say in Tibet, for example, this kind of behavior is very common. And it's this idea of treating the Buddha like another deity, you know, like magic and this kind of thing. Where pretty much the Zen tradition is the tradition that the reason you pray, when you're praying to the Buddha, you're not praying to an exterior, you're praying to your interior wisdom. And so they talk a great deal about the Buddha within. So the reason a person goes here is a remembrance of the indwelling wisdom that you have within the Buddhist tradition. You stop and you meditate, not because you're hoping for like some spirit from outside to inspire you and direct your guidance. It's so that you could still your habit energy. Your habit energy is what comes from your ancestors. So in other words, if your dad or mom drank a lot, you'll have this habit energy to drink hard, right? So you can get that kind of habit energy, but you can also get habit energy from your culture. So our culture is really into sort of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So you'll have that habit energy.
No wonder.
And then, what's that?
No wonder.
Sex, drugs, and rap, or sex, drugs. But in any case, the idea is that, so you get habit energy, and habit energy is basically what you don't associate with your own volition. It's what happens when you react. Reaction is not part of the bodhisattva inside of you. It's not part of the Buddha within. The Buddha within is fundamentally an agent. The Buddha within acts, the Buddha within does not react. So when you meditate, you're sort of trying to bring forth this deep and profound being that dwells within you, but it's just caked and covered with all of this habit energy. And all habit energy, by definition, is stuff that's outside of you. Your parents, your culture, even your habits is part of your habit energy. So in other words, you've built that habit yourself, you know, by, you know, things that you've done in your past. But that represents a minuscule habit energy compared to the habit energy that is way beyond you, like your multi-generational habit energy, the habit energy of your grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents. And so the idea is, and this is where we get the idea, the Buddhist practice. So the Buddha within, the Buddha and the teachings of the Buddha are ways to try to overcome by introducing a new energy, an alternative energy to habit energy. That energy is mindfulness. So mindfulness is the alternative energy. And then there's another kind of energy. And so what I want you to do is I want everybody to get like really close. Like I want you pressing up against each other. Okay?
Daisy?
Yeah, not
No
grinding. Okay, way closer. Yeah,
Not
way
grinding?
closer.
I'm not down.
Way. Yeah, you gotta.
Like, hey.
That's so deep.
Right, yeah.
My boobs.
That's sweet.
Okay. So closer now. Closer. Closer.
Hey.
Closer.
Hey.
Okay. Now. Now I'm going to tell a scary story about the crazy monk who cut people up. No. Okay. So. Okay. Now, according to Buddhism, though, the most powerful energy, and this is why that monk brought it up, is the energy that comes from the Sangha. So you'll notice when we were walking up, it was really cold. In fact, there are a number of people saying, gee, it's really cold. Are you sure you want to go up? It's because when we're cold, when we have the environment drawing our energy down, it's because we walk in isolation. And even the Buddha was said would have been vulnerable and could not have been enlightened if it weren't for Sangha. So the first thing upon enlightenment the Buddha did was immediately built a Sangha. And this is a perfect example, although we just consider it body heat, right? The fact of the matter is, this is an example of the collective energy of a Sangha, where you could be out in spectacularly cold weather if you're all huddled together with your energy. And you could... Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Is that the crazy one? So in any case, within the Buddhist teaching, the idea is Sangha is probably one of the most important kinds of energy there is, and it's the energy we never utilize. And this is the energy that can literally overcome habit energy, especially because, see, the trick is, like, if you drink, if your mother drank, her mother drank, her mother's mother drank, and so on, your ability to stop a freight train by pushing against it is very slim. What stops a freight train is another freight train. So what you do is you bring a community of practitioners together, pooling their collective energy, and you can be in a snowstorm. So that's one of the worthwhile things with a march like this. You can be marching in the cold, and you're thinking, gee, it's really cold. The only reason it's cold is because we choose to walk alone. And that's the fundamental Buddhist message. And by the way, the Buddhists aren't saying that, oh, therefore you have to come to this Sangha and contribute. In fact, they would tell you, no, go ahead, build your own Sangha wherever you are. It's the idea of you're not alone unless you elect to choose to be alone. And you'll notice there's a great deal of comfort in this closeness. And the trick is, no, but seriously, there's a great deal but we don't give ourselves permission to do it. Buddhism is essentially a counterculture within a culture. So the idea is, it doesn't matter how crazy your own culture is, because you could return to another community, your Sangha, that basically supports you in healthy habits. So this is just sort of like an energetic example, but that idea is, there's a very famous Buddhist saying that a practitioner that goes back to the city is as lost as a lion that comes down, or a tiger that comes down from the mountains. The idea is a tiger coming down into the village is easily hunted and killed, but a tiger in its element is basically impossible to capture. And similarly with a Buddhist practitioner, if a Buddhist practitioner has a Sangha, then no matter how basically dysfunctional a society is, the Sangha protects them because it produces that energy. So the idea is, you guys aren't trying to keep each other warm. You don't need to try. You just being you keeps the people around you warm. And that's a fundamental teaching of Buddhism. So that is our 9th lesson.
Do we have to move?